Hi Flosstube, I'm Tamara. I am PD Stitcher here on YouTube and over on Instagram. And this is a channel about cross stitch and sometimes a little bit of life stuff thrown in for those of you who want to hear about my life. Welcome. If you are new here, I hope you stick around and I welcome you. If you see what you like, something you like, if you see something you want to find out more about, always don't hesitate to throw a question down in the comment section. And if you really want to continue to hang out, I would appreciate hitting that subscribe button. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you for coming back to my little piece of crazy here on Flosstube. I appreciate the comments, the likes, the subscribes, the friendships that I've made here in Flosstube land. If you see, if you see something that you have a question about, always don't hesitate to throw a question down in the comment section, because I probably will miss stuff that I would normally share, like fabrics or stuff. I try to put those in the description box, but if it's not in the description box, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll be happy to answer your question either in a reply or answer it in the next video. So it's been a couple weeks. The last time I filmed was on Mother's Day. That was 2 weeks ago. So today is the 23rd of May, and it is about 9 o'clock in the morning here in South Carolina. It's sunny, so I've got some good sun coming through here. There's a little tree right in front though that's started blooming, so it's kind of blocking some of my sun, so hopefully we'll have some good lighting. We'll see. I have a finish. I have some whips. I have some plans. I have a little bit of stash and some life stuff, a lot of life stuff. There's been a lot that's gone on in my house in the last 2 weeks, so I'll share that at the end. For those of you who are only here for the stitching, that way you if you're not here for the life stuff, and that's fine, you might not be, you can cut out after the stitching. So let's get started. Let's see my finish. Y'all, this was craziness. I don't even understand why it was still in my whip pile to need to be finished. Y'all, I'm sorry for that. That was loud, opening my bag. And it's just in a little Ziploc bag because, it works. So this is Autumn Skies from Hands On Design, and I was working on This Way to the Pumpkin Patch. And when I last showed you, I had everything except the TCH. That's all I had left. And I hadn't worked on it in several months. So when I pulled it out on its birthday, because I started this for Mania last year on, I don't know what day, but it's been since May 9th, because I think it was maybe the 10th or the 11th. But it's been since the 9th, since that was my last video. So here it is. All of its glory. And y'all, literally, it took me 47 stitches. 47. That was all I had left. Why did I leave it? Why didn't I just finish 47 stitches the last time I picked it up? That was the question that was going through my mind as I finished this that morning, because it didn't take me any time at all. It took me less than an hour to pull it out, get my needles threaded, and get those stitches in. So I could have easily popped out 47 stitches when it was out the last time. But that's okay. It gave me a finish for May, so there you go. For Mania this year, I'm not really doing Mania like I've done in the past, which was start new projects, except for days when there was a project that was started on a previous year on that day. That was a really convoluted way to say that. Anyways, so the last 2 years I've done Mania where I've just started a bunch of stuff. This year I'm not, but I am trying to go back and hit my Mania pieces on their birthdays. However, I'll talk more about that in plans because I thought that was my plan for May. It's changed a little bit. So, but I did finish that one on its birthday this year. So now let's look at whips. So my first whip is July from the Cricut collection. And this is what it's going to look like. I've done January through June, and now I'm starting July through August, July through December, and hopefully we'll finish all of those by the end of this year so that I'll have all of them ready to finish, fully finish, and stick on my walls for 2022. Wow, that seems weird. Next year's 2022. We're almost halfway done with 2021, but not quite. So one of my children said the other day, 2020 seems so long ago. It's because these years that last year and this year are just dragging out. I don't know why. But then on the other hand, the parts of it are flying by. It's a conundrum. But so July from the Cricut collection. And when I last showed y'all, I know I had all of the J and some of the U, or I might not have had any of the U, but I know I had the whole J. So let's see where I am now. And I've been working on it this morning, so I need to take it out of my Q-snap. And my needle minder was my little gift from Fire Poppies for my last order. Y'all, if you're not shopping at Fire Poppies, you really need to be. And I'll have the link to their store in my description box. But here's where we are. I've done all of J, all of U, all of L, and I've started on Y. So I should finish this. By the end of this month. So this is it. It's on 32 count. I'm going to butcher this, but Demoiselle from Picture This Plus. And I love it. It's got, I don't know if you can see it. It's got a little bit of yellow and a little bit of pink in the modeling. It's hard to see with this lighting and because it's pulled so taut. But when it's not, you can kind of see it. But there's some yellow right in through here. Yeah, I definitely can't see it with the light coming behind it. But it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and it's perfect for this. So that's my 100 Stitches a Day project, which means every morning I get up, I do my devotions, and then I sit down and stitch before my day starts, like work and all that jazz. And I stitch for at least 100 stitches. Sometimes I can get 150, depending on how much time I have before I need to get started with working and how quickly things get stitched on and how awake I am when I get up and do my devotions. Sometimes those take me a while too because I'm not really ready to focus. So, but I get at least 100 stitches a day on that. I've done, today's been a little bit weird. I haven't done much stitching because I was trying to plan for my Flosstube today. So I've not hit my 100 stitches this morning, but that's okay. I'll hit them after a while, and then this evening, I don't know if I'm even going to get a stitch this evening. More about that later. So we'll see if I get a stitch on anything else. But so I do 100 stitches a day on that, and then I work on other things. So here's a few of the other things that I've worked on. The next thing is Words to Live By from Tiny Modernist, and it's in a lovely vinyl bag from Amazon. And this is what it's eventually going to look like. I started this. This was my New Year's Day start. And I've done the top 4. I'm trying to do one a month. I've done the top 4, and then I was working on this one the last time I shared. And now I'm working on this one, which goes here. So I've done the top 4, and then I'm going to do this one. I've done this one, and now I'm going to do this one, and I'll go across. I'm leaving this big one for last. It'll probably be my January piece for next year because there's 12 squares around, and then the 13th is in the middle, and it's big. So if I can do one a month, which I paced myself pretty good. I've worked on one a month, and then I can do that one in January and hopefully have it finished by the end of January, February. So here's where it is now. It's a lot of fabric. This is going to be a huge project when it's done. So there's just a lot of fabric right now. This is the square that I was working on, and I got it finished with the bees. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. And then, like I said, I started on this one over here, just getting the border done down the side so that I can have something to count off of. So I've got to do this border. Let me fold this. I've got to do, so all of them have these little straight borders with the little notches at the end. So I've got to do that on the inside. And then I'll go down and do it here and maybe across the bottom. I'm not sure. But I'll definitely do this one across this, down this side so that I can count from it. And then maybe start across and then do this one to count down from. We shall see. And then I'll do the bottom one after I've done a lot of the inside so it's easier to count. Because I don't like to have to frog if I can avoid it. And I'm not really great at counting a high number of stitches. I can count. I know how to count. Just, I don't always do a good job. And that was on 32 count Chalkboard Black. Zweigert. Just, I don't know what. Zweigert. So the next one is also on 32 count Chalkboard Black. And it is from Tiny Modernist also. And you see a theme? I've got a lot of Tiny Modernist stuff. The Words to Live By was also from Tiny Modernist. And I was working on Christmas, Chalkboard Christmas Greetings. I was working on this one, the 'Tis the Season with the Snowman. And here's where he is. I finished the snowman and the tree. And I don't know, the tree just looks weird to me. That's how it's charted. It's just, this right here looks strange. I don't know why. I'm hoping that maybe when I get the border in, I think it's the fact that this doesn't go any further because the border literally goes right down there. So maybe once I get the border in, it'll look more symmetrical, like the other half is just outside the border. I don't know. I have some snowflakes and I have the border and the words, the 'Tis the Season. That's all in white. If you've been with me for a while, you know how much I absolutely adore doing white stitches. I know there are people out there that their white stitches look amazing. There are people out there whose white stitches I would love for mine to look like. I don't look like that. So I spend a lot of time, white stitches take me longer because I spend a lot of time trying to get the stitches to lay right so that they look right. So I railroad, and if it still doesn't look right, I take that stitch back out and I do it again and making sure I railroad and lay it flat. So white stitches just take me a while. They're not difficult. It's not any harder to stitch a stitch like up and down through the holes. That's not harder. It's just getting it to lay right and look like all my other stitches. So it just takes me longer. I think that's why I don't like it, because I would love to be one of those people who can just whip out thousands and thousands of stitches in a week. That's not me. If it is you, kudos. I'm so proud of those people who can, who stitch quickly. I am a snail pace stitcher, so it's one reason why I'm trying to get my whips pile a little bit lower so that I don't feel as overwhelmed, because otherwise I've got a lot of projects I want to start, but there's a lot that I've already started. They're going to take me a while, so because I'm a slow stitcher. So that was Chalkboard Christmas Greetings from Tiny Modernist, and then I have, and that's also housed in a Ziploc bag. I'm really fancy, y'all. And the last one that I worked on is Pandemic, and I don't have a cover photo for that. And it's from Long Dog Samplers, and I'm going to get my board behind it. And this I'm stitching on 40 count Weeks Angel Hair. And I picked this color palette from a website called Stitch Palette, and I'll link that below, and I'll link the colors that I'm using. But I absolutely am loving how this is turning out. Absolutely loving it. So maybe YouTube will pick this up. But I'm doing, this is, I know the birds are 37.50. I think inside the diamonds, the heart-shaped, diamond-shaped things is $38.09. I know one of them is $38.10. And I don't remember off the others off the top of my head. I'm loving the teals and blues together, and I'm just, it's starting to move a little faster for me. If you watched my video maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, I had a huge mistake and had to frog out a very large section. And so I went in timeout for a long time. But now that I've frogged that, fixed it, it's moving much faster now. As long as I don't make any more mistakes, we should be good. So those are my whips. I have not stitched very much. I get in at least my 100 stitches a day on July, and I've done 4 days total now this month on pandemic. I met my first whip go goal, and if you don't know what whip go is, it's like bingo. You use a bingo board. Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff created whip go, and she talks about it in very good detail on her channel, so I'll link her below. She explains it much better than I probably could, so I'm not going to really try. Just suffice it to say, it's like bingo, where you put in whips in the 25 squares with the goal that you want for those. And if you're not familiar, if you're new, whips are works in progress. Us Flosstubers and cross stitchers have a lot of acronyms that you may not know if you're new. But you put your whip and what your goal is. So and then she every month picks 2 numbers, and the 25 squares on the board are numbered. So those 2 numbers are your goals for that month. My first goal that she pulled for this month was January from the Cricut collection, and I finished that in January. So that one was already done. I could check that goal off. And then the other goal was 5 days on pandemic, and I have now done 4 because I did 3 days this past week. Now, a day for me is just, if sometime during that 24-hour period I work on it, even if it's 35 stitches, that's a day of stitching for me, because that might be all I get in the evenings. So I've done 4 days of stitching. I've got 1 more day to meet my goal. And I'm hoping to work on it one night this week. I should have some more free evenings now. I hope. So that I can stitch some in the evenings, but we'll see. So that brings us to plans. I've got 1 more day on pandemic that I want to do this week. I mentioned earlier what I had planned to do for Mania, which was basically, I wasn't going to start a whole lot of things. I was going to start, when I first started May, I was going to start 1 project each weekend. No, I started this one. I started this one the very first weekend, and then I haven't started another project this month because I was overwhelmed with the number of whips I already have and just thought of starting something else. Just made me panic. CrossFit shouldn't be panic inducing, so I was like, no, I'm just not going to start anything. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to work on my previous Mania projects on their birthdays. And I did. Until week before last. So basically for the first week and a half of this month, I worked on Mania projects on their birthday. And then the last couple weeks, I've not really had a chance to because I've been busy in the evenings. So this week, since I've only got 1 more day of pandemic to work on, and I don't really have a lot of other things in the evening, I'm going to go back and in the evenings pick 1 former Mania project in the evening to work on. And hopefully that will get me caught up. I don't have a lot. I think I've got maybe 8 former Mania projects that I haven't touched this month yet. So I've got time from now until the end of the month to get those in, maybe, hopefully. So we shall see. But that's my plan. And then if I finish July, I might wait until the first day of June to start the next month, to start August, because I might want to pull out one of my other kitted up starts if I have time between now and the end of this month. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet if I want to start one more thing for Mania 2021. I don't know. So those are my plans. There's a lot of I don't knows in those plans. So they're not really plans, they're kind of guesses, but that's okay. And now we're on to haul. Last video I called them Happy Mail because it all came in the mail. This time it was not Happy Mail, it was a gift. So one of my children, for Mother's Day, went on my 1, 2, 3 stitch wish list. And I've done Christmas stockings. I've stitched Christmas stockings. Y'all, I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull this out of the bag and it's not pulling out very quietly. I've stitched a Christmas stocking for each of my children and for my husband. The children's are all fully finished. They've been using theirs. My husband's, I need to send off to get it fully finished because I can cross stitch. I can't sew. So I have to have them finished by somebody else. But that one will go up this Christmas. And I don't have one. Well, I have a stocking. I don't have one I've made. So she found this on my wish list because it was one I had put aside. And this is Christmas Village stocking from Cooler Design Studio. And so she bought this and gave it to me for Mother's Day. So I will be kitting this up and probably starting this in July for Christmas in July. It will not be done for this Christmas. That's a guarantee because there's no way I'll get it done in 5 months and finished and ready to be used. But it will be done eventually. Y'all, I'm going to try and stick this back in here. Sorry, it's noisy. I usually listen to Flosstube, not with headphones, but occasionally I do stick my headphones in when I'm listening to and watching Flosstube. And I know it can be loud when you hear a lot of crinkles, so I apologize if you're watching this using headphones. I'm so sorry, because I know the crinkling can be loud. So that will probably be a start in July. I need to kit it up. That's next. I have to buy fabric. I think I have most of the floss already, but I don't have the fabric for it. So that's the only stash I have. I've been trying to do really good with not buying. I've done great this month. I've not really needed to buy because I'm not really planning on doing anything new, and I don't want to buy a whole lot of patterns right now because I have a lot of patterns that are kitted up or that are sitting there waiting to be kitted up. And I forgot to bring them in here, but I also, a friend of mine who has seen me post my cross stitch on Facebook and stuff, a friend of hers had posted in their little group. She lives in a little tiny town about 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away. And somebody who lives near her had posted that she had all these old Designs by Gloria and Pat books because she used to work for Designs by Gloria and Pat, and she was just going to give them away or throw them away. And so my friend was like, oh wait, I think I know somebody who might want them. And she asked me, and I was like, oh yes, definitely, because so Designs by Gloria and Pat was in Sumter, South Carolina, which is where I grew up. And so when I started stitching, that's what was there. I mean, their books were everywhere in the store, the cross-stitch store that was there, which is no longer there, sadly. And so I grew up stitching the little precious moments and the bears and the little ornaments. That's what I learned to stitch, was Designs by Gloria and Pat. So even if I don't ever stitch one, I wanted the books just to have the books. But also in there were some Disney books, which made me very happy because I'm a big Disney fan. And there was a treasure trove it was a stack probably this high of cross-stitch books from the 90s, 80s. Yeah, way long time ago, but that meant a lot to me because that's where I started, and I had been looking for those Designs by Gloria and Pat books just to have, and I didn't really want to spend a lot, and I could find them on eBay and stuff, but I didn't want to spend an arm and a leg because I don't have that kind of money to do that with. I'd rather spend it on the stuff I'm currently stitching on. But she was able to get me this for a really, really, really good price. And so I have a huge stack of books that I'm very, very happy with. I don't know how much I'll stitch out of them. Probably when I have grandchildren, I might stitch a couple of the little precious moments. But we're not anywhere near that because my children are not there yet, and I'm glad. I'm not ready for grandchildren, like right now, but in the future. So that brings me to life. I told y'all I've been kind of not here for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago, right, the week after Mother's Day was the busiest week of the year for my job. I work as an administrator for a youth soccer program, and that was our week of tryouts. We had tryouts every night that week, and because I'm the administrator and I do all the paperwork, I had to be there to check athletes in, and if there were people who were walking up wanting to try out then, I had to get all of their paperwork done. So that took all my evenings that week. And then after that, work was still crazy because then we had to, well, I don't have to put the teams together. Our director of coaching does, but then he sends that to me and I make sure everybody gets the emails letting them know what team they made and put stuff on social media, posting all the teams. So work has been busy. Usually I average 20 hours a week. For the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, the week of tryouts, I had 36 hours of work that week, and last week I had 26 hours of work, which is, I know it's not a full-time job, but it's not supposed to be. It's a part-time job, and I was working close to full-time hours. So it's just a little bit more than I usually have, which meant less stitchy time because, people still like to eat and get taken places and stuff like that. And then, so we had, right before Mother's Day, my son turned 21. Then we had Mother's Day. Then last weekend, my twins turned 18, so we had a big birthday celebration for them. Yesterday was graduation for my twins. So we had their graduation ceremony. It was beautiful. There were 51 homeschool kids who chose to participate in graduation. There were over 100 who are seniors in our homeschool umbrella, but not all of them chose to actually participate in graduation, but there were 51, which was a lot bigger than when my son graduated 3 years ago. There were only 30, so it was a much longer ceremony. They make it really, really special for homeschoolers for this graduation because, and they say this, because they are just the umbrella group. They're the paperwork people, and the parents are the teachers and the administrators, and they do all the hands-on. When they call the graduate's name, the graduate goes up one side of the stairs onto the stage, and the parents go up the other side, and we get to hand them their diploma and move their tassel. And they give the graduate a chance to take the microphone and say something. So both of my girls did take the microphone and thanked us for homeschooling them and for the time we put in. And my younger one, so they're twins, but we know one is older, one is younger. And alphabetically, the older one is A and the younger one is B. So she was second. And she's my third child that I've homeschooled and now graduated. And so at the end of her time speaking, she said, "And now you're over halfway done," which made me laugh because I had been on the verge of tears because it was kind of an emotional day. I have 2 left to graduate, which is happy and sad all at the same time because I'm over halfway done. Yay! But I'm over halfway done. And it's a chapter in my life that is coming nearer to a close. I still have 5 more years. My youngest is finishing 7th grade. So 5 more years of this. And then I'll have to figure out what else I'm going to do with my life because I've done this since. They also recognized the families for how long they've been in our association. And if they've been there for 10 years or more, and they started with, if you started in 2011, that was 10 years ago, and then they went backward. And the last year they said was 2005, which was when we joined, when my son was in kindergarten. I've been homeschooling. And that was how long I've been legally homeschooling, like had to turn in stuff because he was a kindergartner. But we started when he was 3K. So it's been a long time. It's been a very long time. So I'm not sure what the next step will be, but I have 5 years to figure that out. And then, so that's a lot of life. And then my 4th child, who runs track, and I've talked about her before, she had, in those 2 weeks, we've had lower state, which was last weekend, and then this weekend was the state championship meet. She qualified in 3 events from Lower State. She only ran 3 events at Lower State, so she qualified in all 3. The 1600 meter, which is about 1 mile, the 3200 meter, which is about 2 miles, and javelin. So we went to state for that, and they only take the top 8 from Lower State to go to state. Well, from Lower State and Upper State, they took the top 8 times between those, and those 8 moved on. And so there were only 8 people in each race, and she did really well. She came in 5th in javelin and 5th in the 1600 and 2nd in the 3200. And so that was a fun evening as well. So it's just been really busy, but really fun, and a lot of life moments and a lot of memories being made that, I wouldn't trade my stitching time for those memories. So I'm happy with the memories. There will be time for stitching later. And so that's where all my stitching time has gone, and that's what's been going on with us. I have a shout out and life. People. I have lots of people who live in my house, so I'm not going to tell them they can't move in the house. That would be very wrong. So if you hear the walking, the stairs are literally right behind this wall. If you took 2 steps from the stairs instead of 1 step and turned, you would have seen people right there. But they know when I'm filming, they don't want to be on film, so they cut right off the stairs and go around that way. But they're right there. So if you heard walking, it's because the stairs are right there. So I have a shout out, Rachel Q Stitches. I started watching her a couple weeks ago, and she has cross stitch videos. She also has quilting videos. I don't quilt. I would love to learn how, but if you were listening earlier, I don't sew. I don't own a sewing machine. I don't know how to use a sewing machine. So quilting might be a stretch, but I want to learn. So I love that she has cross stitch videos, which is what got me in, and she also has quilting videos, which maybe that will inspire me. And then this is going to cut off in just a minute because it only runs for like 34 minutes. So I'm going to get my quote in, and then I'll say goodbye. So the quote for this week is from Dr. Seuss. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. That's kind of what I was just saying when I was talking about all the stuff, the life stuff, and why I haven't been stitching. My youngest made a comment a little earlier. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, and I don't know why. She said, Mom, I wish I had known the last time I went trick-or-treating that was going to be my last time trick-or-treating. Because she had planned to go in 2020 when she was 13, and that was going to be her last year, and then we didn't do trick-or-treating because of COVID. And she's like, I wish I had known. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes we don't know. And then I found this quote right after that. Sometimes we don't know that moment is the moment that it is until it's become a memory. So I'm trying to really hold on to all these moments that are really good memories. So with that, y'all stay happy, stay healthy, keep stitching. Bye.